Tzu Chi volunteers arrived in the disaster area of Hangwang Township for the first wave of aid relief work. Volunteers in the Philippines sent a shipment of 11,200 blankets to the quake-hit areas. 2-week quantities of aid packages are prepared for 222 households in Myanmar. Welcome to Dar Headlines. I'm Louisa Liu. Thank you for joining us. Taiwanese and Chinese Tzu Chi volunteers have set out from their cities to earthquake-hit area of Sichuan province. The Chinese disaster relief team flew to Chongqing on Wednesday the 14th and drove to Chengdu and went on to Hanwang Township, Mianzhu County on the same day. In the disaster area of Hanwang Township, the earthquake caused at least 4,000 deaths and collapsed 70% of the houses. Meanwhile, another disaster relief team from Taiwan also arrived in Sichuan yesterday with 74 tons of aid supplies. From their hometowns to Chongqing, Chengdu, and Mianzhu, the volunteers were hampered by many obstacles, such as the restricted access to worst-hit areas. But they have once proved that when there is love, there is a way. On the day of their arrival, 16 Chinese disaster relief team members drove from Chongqing to Chengdu. Wei Yingcong, Weiquan Foods Corporation chairman and factory owner in Chongqing, is in charge of the transportation of the disaster team volunteers and aid supplies. His elder sister is also a member of the disaster team. With the advantage of close proximity and cooperation with local residents, the volunteers are adamant to bring emergency aid to victims, even if it means they have to walk hours to reach them. The access to the worst-hit regions of Beichuan and Wenchuan is still restricted. Public cars are not allowed to enter. Even the supply of gasoline is limited. Hampered by many difficulties, volunteers endeavor to overcome them one after another.
We will have a full tank of gas before we get there. We also need to bring enough water because it's likely that the water and electricity are still cut off over there, especially in the worst-hit area. Only the rescue troops have access to gasoline there. As soon as they arrive in Chengdu, volunteers immediately contact the police station and fire bureau as well as local Taiwanese entrepreneurs. There are a multitude of things to attend to, but the experienced volunteers have already reached a consensus. The 16 of us have reached a consensus, that is to ensure we can first remain calm. We will handle the relief program with prudent and pious hearts. The same principle is followed by the Taiwanese disaster relief team. Furthermore, volunteers are reminded by Master Dojang Yen to take care of their personal safety. Master Dojang Yen especially reminded us to look after ourselves. The disaster area is very large this time, so we don't necessarily need to go deeper into the worst-hit area if we can be at risk doing that. As long as there are victims who need emergency aid, we can stay in those areas and help out. Carrying an important mission on their shoulders, the team members are extremely fortunate to be able to bring the love of Tzu Chi volunteers around the world directly to the victims. As the first Tzu Chi emergency relief team gets to work in Sichuan, volunteers in Taiwan are making sure they have all the backup they need. Before the team left Taipei, their bags were packed with satellite phones, solar power generators, and other equipment for the disaster area. Testing and retesting the satellite phone, the first Tzu Chi disaster relief team to travel to earthquake-hit Sichuan is making sure it can send back vital information. Volunteers check there are enough torches, raincoats, and other items for all the members of the team, so that they are prepared for any eventuality.
Anything can happen in the disaster area. There might be no power or water, so we are taking a solar-powered generator and hand-shaken flashlights to help us work until late and in safety.
Meanwhile, at the China Airlines warehouse in Taoyuan International Airport, box after box of aid arrives throughout the afternoon. Blankets and aid packs are handed over to warehouse staff and ready to be sent to the disaster area.
The emergency packs have those daily items, little things like towels, toothbrushes, and toothpaste.
2 days after the earthquake, Tzu Chi volunteers are working together as a team to complete their mission. Information on the disaster situation
and the status of relief work is quickly relayed to the abode of still thoughts in Hualien. At the Tzu Chi Foundation's headquarters, the information is collected and disseminated, so the relief team are fully briefed and ready to save lives as soon as they arrive.
We have to provide backup for the aid workers in the hope that they can effectively and quickly carry out emergency relief and make victims safe and secure.
As the blue and white uniforms of Tzu Chi set off for the disaster-hit area, although far from the front line, volunteers in Taiwan feel an intimate connection with quake victims. Members of the public who want to help the earthquake relief effort may go to their local Tzu Chi branch office to make a donation.
Following the earthquake that hit Si Chuan on Monday, collapsed buildings and other scenes of disaster littered the town of Dojang Yen. There were fears that the UNESCO World Heritage Site could be flooded if there were problems with the nearby dam. The historical Zipingpu Dam was damaged in the quake, but authorities pronounced the structure was safe. However, it is just one of the many damaged reservoirs in the region.
Following the Sichuan earthquake, 10-centimeter cracks scarred the top of Zipingpu Dam, which is located between Dojang Yen and Wenchuan. China's Ministry of Water Resources said urgent protection of the reservoir was needed and warned Dojang Yen would be swamped if major problems emerged at the dam. But late on Wednesday, the government pronounced the Ziping Dam safe after it was inspected by experts.
In terms of the overall situation and structure of the dam, I can assure people downstream that it is safe.
On Wednesday, 2,000 soldiers rushed to plug cracks in the Zipingpu Dam, upriver from the earthquake-hit town of Dojang Yen. Experts in Taiwan say the reservoir, which has a history of over 2,000 years, is naturally resilient to earthquakes.
Dojang Yen is a model of ecological construction. It is earthquake-resistant and solid. I think the way it is built with natural resources has a lot to do with that.
Built in 256 BC during the Warring States period, the Dojang Yen irrigation system has a so-called fish-mouth levee that divides the Minjiang River into two streams. The flow of the inner stream is controlled by a bottleneck channel. Sediment is filtered out and dispersed by flying sand weirs.
The general practice is to use a dam, but in Dojang Yen there are no water barriers to channel the water, which is to say, it helps the locality avoid flooding.
After the Dojang Yen irrigation system was built 2,200 years ago, flooding in the Minjiang region became a thing of the past. The system still provides water for farmland in the rich Chengdu Plain today. Dams are common in the water-rich Minjiang region. 2 hydropower stations in Maoxian County were also damaged by the earthquake. Authorities warned the dams could burst. The quake also stopped a river in the Mianzhu region, prompting officials to drain the dams and evacuate residents downstream. Hundreds of rivers descend through the quake-struck Sichuan basin, adding to the danger of landslides on the already loosened mountain slopes.